Hello, Year 3, and welcome to your second maths lesson of Term 6, Week 4. And following on from the lesson with Miss McHugh, where you were looking at time and analog clocks, today's lesson is all about measuring time. Now, you may remember a lesson last week where you were measuring distances and lengths using millimetres, centimetres, and metres. Well, this is exactly the same thing, only this time we're actually going to measure time. And you measure time in seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, and years. And we know, for example, that there are 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, and 365 days in a year. So that's how we measure time. Those are the units. Now, you don't really need one of these fancy things below, these stopwatches, in order to measure time. You could just use a watch. You could just use a clock like the one behind me on the wall. Or if you've got an electronic timer on your smartphone or on your tablet or on a computer, you might use those to record time. So what you're going to do is you're going to measure the time it takes to do certain activities, and then you're going to record your information carefully on a chart just like this one. So you're recording it in minutes and seconds, and then you're going to record it carefully, and then you have to convert it so that everything is in the same measurement into seconds. So for example, the first one there is my favorite song, and I measured the time of my favorite song, and it actually took 3 minutes 10 seconds from the opening bar through to the end. Now, as I said, we know that there are 60 seconds in a minute, so 3 times 6 is 18. We know if we want to multiply something by 10, we can add a 0, so that becomes 180 seconds, plus the 10 seconds, 190 seconds. So that's what I can put in my final column. So that's the activity. Measure the time of various things I'm going to show you and record them carefully on a table just like this to give you a data set, your very own data set. Now, when we've got that data set, we're going to turn that into a bar chart. So you are going to measure the time of the following activities. Firstly, your favourite song. Someone's just walked into the background, so we can say hello. Secondly, an advert on television. Thirdly, get someone to measure the time it takes for you to say your 3 times table out loud accurately. So you've got to say your 3 times table, measure the time it takes. How about how long it takes you to do 10 star jumps? So record that amount of time. And then the next one is to get yourself a nice glass of your favourite kind of squash. Maybe it's orange squash. I particularly like lime at the moment. And measure how long it takes you from picking the glass up to finishing it and putting it down. Record that data carefully. Now, the next one is how long is it going to take you to eat a slice of toast? Now, you can put whatever topping you want on it. So if you're really, really into Nutella or strawberry jam or honey or anything like that, you can slide it on the toast and then tell me what the topping is so I can get really hungry. Lots more lessons about eating at the moment, which is good. And then time yourself in eating the toast from your first bite to your last bite. Then if you want to add any other activities, similar kinds of activities onto your list, you can write down what the activity is and time yourself carefully, and that will give you a data set. And we all know that data is just information in a numerical form, and the numerical form in this instance will be time in seconds. So once we've got our data set, that should be a really good fun activity, creating the data. We're going to use it to create a bar chart. Now, this is a bar chart. As you can see, when you produce a bar chart, the first thing you have to do is give it a title. So, measuring the time of my activities, something along those lines, give yourself a title. Then you have to think about the axis. Now, the bottom axis might be the names of the activities. So down there you put eating a piece of toast, drinking a glass of squash, 10 star jumps, etc., etc. So each one of those has a block. And then on the other axis, you need to put the time in seconds. So you need to think about that really carefully because it has to be an accurate scale. So if your longest activity was 190 seconds, for example, then you might want to make that scale up to, say, 200 seconds and evenly divide it out, either using a ruler or using the lines on a piece of paper so that you know exactly what 200 seconds is. And then you plot the activity on that graph and draw your bar chart, and you will end up with a bar chart something like this using your data set, which I hope you will photograph and put onto Tapestry. Now, the activity isn't quite finished there, because once you've got your data set, you could maybe ask someone some questions, or maybe you can answer some questions on your own data set. So here are some questions you may want to answer, or you may ask somebody else to try to answer using your graph. Which activity took the longest and the shortest? How long did it take to eat the toast and drink a glass of squash combined? So, you know how long it took you to do 10 star jumps. How long do you think it would take you to do 5-star jumps, or even 25-star jumps, or even 50-star jumps using your 10 as your basic level of measurement? So, knowing you've got 10, how many for 5, etc. Maybe you could ask yourself another one around the times tables. How long would it take me to do my 6 times table or my 8 times table? So there you go. When you've answered those questions, you might look at your data set and set other people some questions in order to analyse your data. And when you've done that, please don't forget to load Tapestry, because we'd love to see your work. I look forward to seeing you all soon. Goodbye.